Welcome back to Too Much with
Shay
and Becca. Welcome back, guys. Like, we're back for another week. I'm ready for
Yes, happy Friday.
Yes, happy Friday. We're about to be in February. I
I
feel like
know.
the months are low
It's
key.
about time.
You
It's
think?
not flying. I don't know if
No,
you were gonna
I
say
feel like they're
that.
going slow. Like
Well,
last
I mean, January is one of, if not the longest month of the year. And also, it has not helped that before the first even arrived, we've been with bad news after bad news after bad news. Like, it's just Jesus Christ. I don't know what sin we're paying for, honey, but I'm receiving it.
girl, listen. I feel like, even though America is burning and everything like that,
Mm-hmm.
I've been chilling.
Oh, happy for you. I wish I could say the same.
Y'all, let's get into our weekly minute right now.
What's happening?
So what's happening, Shay?
So my week, I finally went to see One of Them Days, and it was so amazing. I know Rebecca still hasn't gone to seeing it, but if you're watching this, please go and see it if it's still in theaters where you're at, because it was so funny. Like, I was laughing from start to end. One of the characters also had my name, Shayla. So I kind of like this. She wasn't like a main character or anything, so it
Yeah.
wasn't that big of a deal. But I felt like for this to be SZA's first time acting, yeah, she's gonna have a long acting career if she so chooses, because she
Really?
is very good. Given, I think it was very helpful that she was next to somebody, like the co-star was like a close friend. Well, they became close friends after this movie, because she did so good. And I think it's a very cultured movie. Like, not only, it's not just in face, like two black women. It Oh my, it was so funny. So that was that.
I feel like I like when I see like certain artists transition into like the music scene. So like I feel like J-Lo is a way better actress than she is like as a singer, but she's a great performer. So like I
Mhm.
don't know. Sometimes
Yeah. It
they
could be a hit or miss. Sometimes it's a good transition, sometimes it's not as easy to do so. Um Number 2, this week, well, after this week, I'm putting myself on a spending freeze, honey. I have been spending so much money. I don't know if well, to my terms, because one thing about me, I am is frugal the word? I'm cheap, honey. I don't want to spend money. I don't want to spend money, point blank, period. But I think the news has been so hard hitting that I just like go out. You know what I'm saying? By go out is like I go to ShopRite and I go to Costco and I just, oh, this looks fun. Da da da
yeah.
da, boom, boom, boom. And then I spend. So I was like on the hunt for some multivitamins. I usually use like this specific brand, but I was like, you know what? Like, I want a healthier brand. I'm in my era of health. Well, I mean, I've been on this era, but I'm like, let me try to find organic vitamins.
right.
So I purchased this Garden of Life multivitamins, because you know how everybody be like preventative healthcare measure, boom, boom, boom. Okay, this and this vitamin D, because right now I did my blood work and my vitamin D is good, but I feel like people of color always struggle with vitamin D deficiency. Okay, whatever. My doctor told me that drink vitamin D. Guess how much money in these two items? I
So
was so appalled.
if I recall from the text message,
Yeah.
I said $65.
It was nearly $100 for some vitamins. And I said, this is why people don't care about preventative healthcare measures. To be honest, they are like organic and vegan and whatever, gluten-free and non-GMO. And I'm like, do y'all really want people to be healthy or no?
I texted you and I said, Shayla, if you paid more than that,
I
you're out of
did.
your mind.
So then this just on here, it's $100. And then this is going to be baffling for some, but I still have a twin bed at the real young age of 27. I still use a
Did
twin.
you buy a bed?
No, it doesn't fit. Here's why. The reason why I haven't purchased a bigger bed is because number one, where I lived, or I was raised, we couldn't fit a bigger bed. And then I moved out and still we cannot fit a bigger bed. Thankfully, I'm like 5'3", so I can survive with a twin bed because my apartment is not tall girl friendly. Thankfully, Rebecca never had to shower in my shower because, girl, I could touch the roof. So I don't know. You know what I mean? Anyways, so bed sheets are very expensive, and finding twin bed sheets is very hard because all of them are catered to young kids because kids are the ones that use twin beds. They have like characters and like Disney Channel figures. And I'm 27 years old. So I'm like, I don't want that. So then I found some Kate Spade twin bed sheets at HomeSense. And so I had to purchase that. But guess the price for some bed sheets. Twin, the smallest.
If I can just imagine, because at Macy's they be charging an arm and a leg. So if you said Kate Spade, I'm saying you paid like a good $150.
Okay, not that much, given it's HomeSense. So you know those places are like
okay. So I will say $80.
No, it was less. It was less. But to me, it's too much, honey. It was like 30. I think it was like 30 or 40. I think it was on clearance. But then I bought two because again, I rarely find these things. So just on me being an adult, I paid $100 on vitamins and then nearly like $80-$60 on some damn bed sheets. And I was just like, I'm not spending no more money. For other people, that might not be a lot of money. But for me, for 1 week, that's too much money to be spending. And I went to Costco and I was just, anyways, that was my week. How was your week?
Yeah, I do love a good Costco. My week, honestly, I finally got over my sickness, but then I woke up this morning with like a little in the throat. So if you wonder what I'm like, why
you need these vitamins. I don't be sick. I will say that.
So like if you wonder like,
wood.
where's Rebecca moving in her mouth, it's a cough drop. Like one thing about me, I'm gonna keep a cough drop on hand. So going to adulting, yesterday I went to the city, and then when I came home, like, you know, Rebecca's been on her, Rebecca went to the gym. I was in pain for a week and a half. I texted Shayla. I was like, Shayla, I can't walk.
I don't know who told her to do back, front, middle, legs, back, all in one day. I'm like, girl, it's your first day. Why would you do that?
Girl, I couldn't walk. And then I went to the gym again the next day. And like literally, I was in the machine like shaking, like literally handles like this. It was so bad. But the point is, I went to the store yesterday. Like when I got back, I was like, okay, like, you know, I've been doing like my meal preps. Like I've been cooking. Like I'm not really trying to eat like outside food because it really don't be tasting good. I just be to satisfy. So I've been doing more cooking and stuff like that. So yesterday when I was driving back home, I was starving, but I was like, you know, Rebecca, I'm not going to give myself the cop out. I'm literally going to go cook. And I was like, I don't really have like any meats right now to go cook. So I went to ShopRite.
My favorite spot.
Okay, we love them. So I'm just like, I'm on the phone with my friend and I'm literally just staring at random things. I'm like, ooh, what's this? I'm like, ooh, what's this? First of all, Oscar Myers, they sell bacon that's already cooked in a box and it's not even in the fridge. It's on a regular shelf. I don't think that's normal. But remember, I'm still assimilating to American culture.
That's how you spend an arm and a leg when you just start looking through stuff for fun.
Girl, but I went to the ground turkey and, you know, we love ground turkey over here. And I'm like, ooh, this ground turkey, $3.99. The other one was $7.49. The other one was $10.99. I'm like, why is this so cheap?
Is one organic?
Girl, no, I looked at the name. It was Butterball. And, you know, after their whole little scandal that had happened.
I don't know that brand.
Girl, people not really trying to buy their stuff. So that's why it was so cheap. I was like, I can't believe y'all tried to get me off that. I was really about to get it too. Like I was seated. I was ready. And so I also wanted to talk to you about something else, like really quickly. This is not even like a weekly, you know, I do my scrolling on TikTok and I saw this couple, basically, she posted that her and her man are finally living together after 9 years of dating. So, you know, in my mind, seeing how social media usually goes, I know, like, you know, people are like 5 years and y'all, like, after 5 years, if y'all still dating, you don't have a ring, like, let that man go. He's not serious about you, da-da-da-da. So when I go to the comments, I'm expecting to see that. But in the comments, everybody's talking about I love slow burning relationships. My parents, I was like, this is like, you know how they be like unpopular opinion? It's just like literally the whole comment section was literally like that unpopular opinion. Cause like I said, I'm so used to seeing people clowning others for not
Mhm.
being in a relationship, like, or getting married after a certain amount of
How
time.
old were they? Because I think that plays a role. If you're high school sweethearts, I don't think you immediately gonna move in.
No, I think they were like older, like 28, 29, 30s.
Right. So that means they started dating when they were very young.
Possibly, yes.
Yeah, I
But
think that plays a really big role because if you guys are in high school, as we know, it is not cheap to move out. So I think it makes sense if you, unless I think if y'all started dating like 30s, late 40s, then it's like, wow, y'all didn't move in your 50s, 60s. But if you started dating when you were extremely young, you're still trying to figure out your life, college, we all know that's expensive. That's an experience. So I think if that is the situation, I think that makes more sense because
yeah, I agree. I feel like if you are dating from like younger to older, like, y'all are different stages at every time y'all
and
turn.
also economically speaking, you
Yeah,
literally cannot afford it.
exactly. So the reason why I wanted to bring it up is like I just thought it was interesting seeing that. And then I was on the phone with my friend and I was talking about it. And I was just like, I kind of don't mind the idea of like a slow burning type of relationship, but it's like for me, the way I'm thinking about it is like if I truly love somebody, and let's say that we have been together for like 5 years, like yes, do I want to get married? Yes. But at the same time, I feel like I wouldn't be comfortable. And I tell people, like, I guess this is my unpopular opinion. I
Mhm.
don't feel like you should get married to somebody until you've seen them in all different stages. Like, and I'm talking about like happiness, sadness, grief. Like, I feel like you should see how somebody is in all those different stages before you get to that next level of commitment. Because a lot of times people get into these relationships and they get married, and then let's say like they lose like someone in their family, and you're seeing how they grieve. And it's like now you're looking at them like that's how you are, like that's how you grieve. Like you don't know if you're able to handle something like that. And I mean, don't leave nobody at their highest or their lowest moments, but some people only see others at their high and not a lot at their lows. So I feel like you should like date someone and see them through all those different like emotions and life changes before y'all get to the altar. But that's just me.
Okay, several points. Number one, yes, ideally you want to get to know someone, but there's people that have been dating for 90 years and they did just switch up. Prime example, I'm saying this example because a majority of people know this. The whole Caitlyn Jenner thing. They had all these kids, they were married or dating for decades, and then Caitlyn Jenner is now a woman and transgender. You know what I mean? Like, or sometimes like you've been dating someone and they have double life, where you find out, oh,
Mhm.
in the middle of your marriage, they had a kid outside the marriage and they just been living a double life. So in reality, obviously, in an ideal relationship, you want to get to know
Right.
people as much as you think that you can. My other point, I think it depends, at least for me. You say you're pro slow burning. I think I was pro slow burning when I was younger. Yes, I know I'm so
Yes.
young. I'm 27. But let's say I meet my man at 30. For my specific, situation, I want to have kids. So I'm not trying to sit here with a slow burn 9 years because I want my kids. And so, yes, ideally like 2, 3 years, but in 9 years of us dating, I feel like I would at least want to have one child for me and my situation.
I hear what you're saying, but what I'm saying also is like I'm talking about in terms of personal like emotions and personal growth. I feel like those things that you're talking about is like the addition factors. Like Bruce going from Bruce to Caitlyn is
Mhm.
not something that like I think anybody considers. Like that's like more of like a internal type of issue, an internal type of problem. In terms of the example of
Cheaters,
you said what?
cheaters, people
Right.
that cheat.
Okay, but that's not grief. That's you just thinking that you can just step out in temptation, just go on whatever with you.
Yeah, but again, like we have to move on because we have a lot to talk about. But I think the reality is, yes, obviously, ideally, you want to get to know someone. And like, that's the same thing when people be like, it's easy to say that you would do X, Y, and Z. But until you're in that situation, like, let's say you start dating someone and it is like love at first sight and you are just, I love him. Girl, you gonna jump on that bus and you out, honey. Forget about slow burn. You gonna be on high burn. Turn that candle up, girl. I'm out. You know what I mean?
On the back of that car, put just married.
Exactly. The goal is, yes, we would like to make sure we see our partner in all aspects, all life. Let me see what your bedroom look like, your bathroom. Are you clean? Are you dirty? That's the goal, but life happens.
Yeah, right. And let's move into our actual topics, because like we talked about last week, Trump been rattling up America, and that still hasn't changed. But we're going to talk about some news that happened which is in addition to us talking about him as well. Go ahead, Shayla.
Yeah. So I want to start off by talking about the devastating accident collision that happened earlier this week. So an American airline, no, I'm a go back.
I also
An
have
Army
videos if you want.
Okay, first I'll explain what we're going to talk about. So, if you haven't already seen this, an Army helicopter collided with an American Airlines jet and crashed into the Potomac River in DC on Wednesday night, right? There were 60 passengers on the American Airlines. They call it jet, but I call it a plane, honey. There were 60 people on the passengers on the plane and 4 crew members. So 64 people in total in the American Airlines plane, and there were 3 people in the Army helicopter. All of those individuals died due to this collision, right? And it's the more you learn about it, it's actually so devastating, right? So like I mentioned, I think as of our recording here, they've recovered like 40 bodies, but you know, everyone died. So yes, they're recovering these bodies, but there's like no hope that anyone survived, because I think we've mentioned this in prior episodes, it's been extremely cold here in the Northeast. And so, you know, let alone the impact of the crash, like it doesn't matter if you knew how to swim or whatever. The fact that that river was so cold, like, you know what I mean? Like your body was just not going to survive that. And it's so devastating. There was a lot of US figure skaters on this flight that was coming from Kansas, I believe. I have it here. The flight was arriving from Wichita, Kansas into the DC area, and there was several US figure skating members on the flight because they were returning from participating in a figure skating championship, and also they were hosting like a camp or whatever. So there's several young people, you know, regardless of the age, you know what I'm saying? It's still devastating. Like no one was expecting this. The last thing you think, like people take flights all the time. Flights are supposed to be extremely safe, and the chances of things like this happening is 0 to none, right? But there was so many young people, families, like the stories, you know, like after the news broke, people started you know, speaking out about like, oh, my wife was on this flight, like this is the last performance that these figure skaters did before they got onto this flight and they passed away. So it's just extremely heartbreaking. And so when all this news happened, everyone, in my opinion, with a heart and common sense, would just focus on the families. You know what I mean? And like, how can we help them? Because at the end of the day, obviously, grief is going to be so hard. You're never going to get your family back. And it's just like an unexpected death like this is just horrific, right? So Donald Trump, this happened Wednesday night. So on Thursday morning, Donald Trump, the president, said that he was going to host a press conference. So the press conference starts, and I think the first 2 minutes were where I feel like he should have did it. Cut off the, you know, like if I was the press secretary, I would have dragged him out of the press room after the first 2 minutes of the thing. Because he was just talking about like, you know, our hearts go out to them, like the American people will take them with warm arms, like, you know, like all of this good things that we look to as, you know, the leader of America. And then after he talks about that, what happened, he kind of broke down what I showed you. Do you want to show the video of the Army helicopter?
Yeah, so I'll show the news clip, and then we'll show the Trump response.
Well, let me speak a little bit before we show Trump. Yeah.
Okay.
At Reagan National Airport after an American Airlines plane collided with a helicopter and crashed into the Potomac River. Now, video of the crash appears to have been captured on this Earth cam. The bright lights heading straight for the camera, circled in red, is an American Airlines CRJ 700 regional jet. Then in blue, in that circle that you see traveling from the left to the right of the screen, you can see what the FAA says is a Black Hawk helicopter colliding into the airliner mid-air.
So as you can see, they're just like horrific, like scary moment. So Donald Trump gets on the podium and starts talking about how after he gives this little 2-minute that I'm thinking, wow, like I can't even believe this is coming from Donald Trump's mouth. He starts talking about how diversity, equity, and inclusion is the reason why this happened. He's talking about obviously I'm paraphrasing, this is not word for word, but he's essentially talking about how, because the word DEI, I feel like it's thrown around a lot and people don't know what DEI is. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. It doesn't just mean like people of color. It also means people that have disabilities, right? Like inclusion. We're including people that may not, that are usually like left behind because, oh, well, they have a disability. So you think that they can't do certain things, which is not true. Which is why programs like these were made, because we want to make sure that everyone feels included in the community and the country that they are also a part of, right? So anyways, he's saying that because of Barack Obama, he started mentioning Obama and Biden because of DEI initiatives that they implemented to make sure that, people that may have disabilities are also trained up to be, a part of the aviation or whatever you want to be a part of, that they are included. He's saying that because of those initiatives, this accident occurred.
So
but play the videos. These are just a few clips, seconds of like the whole full-blown rant that he went on.
The FAA's website states they include hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism all qualify for the position of a controller of airplanes pouring into our country, pouring into a little spot, a little dot on the map, a little runway. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan. Think of that. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan, which says diversity is integral to achieving FAA's mission of ensuring safe and efficient travel. I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite. The FAA website shows that the agency's guidance on diversity hiring were last updated on March 23rd of 22. They wanted to make it even more so. And then I came in, and I assume maybe this is the reason. The FAA, which is overseen by Secretary Pete Buttigieg, a real winner. That guy's a real winner. Do you know how badly everything's run since he's run this Department of Transportation? He's a disaster. He was a disaster as a mayor. He ran his city into the ground, and he's a disaster now. He's just got a good line of bullshit. The Department of Transportation, his government agency charged with regulating civil aviation. Well, he runs it, 45,000 people, and he's run it right into the ground with his diversity. So I had to say that it's terrible. Then it's a group within the FAA, another story, determined that the workforce was too white, that they had concerted efforts to get the administration to change that and to change it immediately.
And then this is
when someone from Sky News clocked his tea, because he was, before you play the video, before there was any investigation done, he's already saying that because there was DEI initiatives, this happened. And this Sky News reporter is like, well, play the clip.
Yeah.
Mr. President, you have today blamed the diversity elements, but then told us
that you weren't sure that the controllers made any mistake. You then said perhaps the helicopter pilots were the ones who made the mistake.
It's all under investigation.
I understand that. That's why I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't.
Shayla, before you go, first off, I want to preface this by saying my heart goes out to the families that literally lost loved ones in an unexpected crash. That was not supposed to happen, but clearly we can acknowledge that something went wrong because that is not something that happens every day.
Right.
Right? I cannot imagine my sister, brother, friend, family member sitting on that plane and they're gone. And I hear the leader of the free world open his mouth and say, diversity, equity, and inclusion are the reason for this crash. What are you talking about? I literally don't understand how we can get there, right? And the reporter who clocked him, it was like, so how can you say that? Like, Trump said with his own mouth, because I know a lot of his supporters going to watch this and think that they can. Well, that's not what he said. He clearly said in that video, this is under investigation. If this is under investigation, how can you sit there, open your mouth and say DEI was the cause? What are you talking about? Details are still coming out. People are still trying to figure out what exactly went wrong. And you talking about, if I was Obama, I'd be like what he's like, you know, that 50 Cent me, like, what he say fuck 50 for? Like, what do I have to do with this? Like, are you not the current president? So be present. Talk about the current issue. You talking about DEI. And like, the thing that irritates me the most is that you get on that podium and you talk about DEI, but you are not worried about the people that just DIE'd. Like, focus on that. Like, what are we talking about here? Give your condolences, say it's under investigation, and go about your day. But no, you want to have diarrhea out the mouth and just start talking about anything? That's ridiculous. I could not imagine my family member being in that type, like passing away like that. And I hear the president talk about it was because of diversity, equity, and inclusion. 2 + 2 not equaling 4.
Yeah, and I think the thing that pisses me off more is that I know this is all a distraction. And you know how they be like, if you say a lie long enough, people will start to believe it. He wants to continue to bring up this whole diversity, equity, inclusion, diversity, equity, and inclusion, because the more he continues to bring that up, the more people might start to believe that it is a problem. I hope and pray that people understand that that's not the fact, but I also thought that there was no way he could win again, and he did. So clearly he knows something that I don't. I also want to clock the fact that according to the Associated Press, right, an article they posted January 21st, Donald Trump fired the heads of the Transportation Security Administration and Coast Guard before their terms ended. He also eliminated all members of a key aviation security advisory group, right? The group, right, this advisory group, right, didn't have, or because it was terminated, right, they won't have any members to carry out the work of examining safety issues at airlines and airports. So it is all a distraction, right? It's not a diversity, equity, and inclusion. I hope everyone understands that. This man, before, he has been signing executive orders since that man was, you know, whatever they call it, put into office, whatever the oath, whatever. He has been signing executive orders from then. I don't know if there's like a limit. I hope there's a limit of executive orders because he gonna run through all of them. He fired people that were a part of aviation. And if you don't know what aviation is, it has something to do with the airplanes, with the airplane travel situation, right? So instead of talking about that and clocking that tea, he want to talk about stuff that was happening way back when. Number two, this whole idea, again, we mentioned it in our prior episode. Diversity, equity, and inclusion does not mean that we're giving opportunities to people, whether it means people with disabilities, people, minorities, people of color. It does not mean that they're just handing out jobs. Hey, ¿quién quiere un trabajo? Who wants a job? Oh, you black? Come here. Oh, you in a wheelchair? Oh, honey, this is the job for you. We're not doing that. That's not what is happening. And the third point I want to make is no tea, no shade, but Donald Trump is the last person that should be talking about earning spots or having the skills or having the qualifications, because he is the first president to ever be a convicted felon. You know what I'm saying? He is a convicted felon. He was found guilty of falsifying business records to cover up a sex scandal that threatened to derail his 2016 presidential campaign, right? A jury also found him liable for sexually abusing an advice columnist by the name of E. Jean Carroll in 1996, a year before I was even born. Okay, he was found liable. This is not making it up. That they went through the courts. Okay. Also, he wants RFK Jr. to be like, I don't know the exact term, but all these people that he is putting or like is picking to be a part of his cabinet are unqualified individuals. So before you start to clock other people's tea, clock your own. You know what I mean? Because we all know several people, and this is not and I guess I should have said this from the beginning. This is not to clock white people, because I feel like the white people that I have white friends, you know what I mean? Like, this is just more, it's just so hypocritical, because we've all seen white people get opportunities simply because of their proximity, their brother, their cousin, their aunt. They are in high positions and therefore they get in. And you know what? Okay, to each their own. But God forbid there's ever 1% of extra, advantage or push to get us in. It's like, oh no, this can never happen. And I think it does sound kind of crazy, but I think they are so scared of like white people not being the majority that they cannot fathom that. Because you remember when the whole LeBron James situation happened? That's why I was like, yes, I'm a little bit mad, but also it's like white people do it all the time. I'm not saying Bronny James doesn't deserve to be there. Probably he doesn't. But how many other people do it and they get away with it and it's okay, but we can't do nothing. We could never.
I agree with you. And I just want to kind of piggyback off what you said. Like, I had a conversation, and Shayla was there, with our one friend who said that I was obsessed with basically hating on white people. I really don't care about y'all. I'm not going to lie to you.
Girl, it's not that she doesn't care about you.
It's not
That's
like,
not
it's like
true.
I don't care about y'all's day to day like that. Like, when we are talking about basically the inequality and like where things are just unfair for people of color, I feel like the white people who get it, and the white people who don't. And it's just like, and that's the problem. We are speaking to the people who don't get it, because
there's a lot of them. That's the problem. That's why we're here.
And it's like, I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm bashing on y'all, dogging on y'all, because like, if you get it, you get it. And if you don't, figure it out. And that's the problem. Y'all don't know how to figure it out.
And I will also clock a lot of Latino conservatives, because it's not only white people. There are a lot of, as we saw in the past election, a lot of Latinos voted for Trump. And I am Latina, and I will always clock that tea. I think there's also like a segment in me, or a portion that is like, certain, not all, but some Trump supporters are just too far gone. Like, I try to tell the Latinos that I know that are stuck on Trump, I'm like, he does not like you. He does not like you. And even if like he only likes the Latinos that are wealthy, why would you want to represent or support someone that only is there for you for what you have to offer? You know what I mean? Like, there are the Latinos that is like, okay, yes, you came here illegally. You probably had an aunt and uncle or someone that could make papers for you, but that's not everyone's truth. You know what I mean? Like, or the Latinos that forget where they came from. Okay, now you're wealthy, you have your home, you have all these opportunities, but where were you a few years from now? Just because you up now, you forget about all the struggles that you went through. It is super discouraging. So I don't ever want people to feel like, oh, is just white people.
No.
I'm sorry, there's conservatives of all, and it's not even about being conservative. I think conservative and being a Trump supporter are different levels. Because I understand conservatives, you believe what you believe, okay. But I think the Trumpian of it all is what is really triggering for me.
Trumpian is crazy. But I agree with you. Like, I met a black person, well, not a black person. I've met a few black people who said that they support Trump. And like, it never made sense to me because I'm like, what are y'all talking about? And like, I've seen some people on like my social media who are like now speaking out like, oh, maybe I made a mistake voting on Trump after he decided to, we're going to talk about it later on in the show, but like freeze like federal, ka-ching, right? And like pause loans and things of that nature. And it's like, I don't understand. And I'm speaking for only me because I can only speak for me, wrapping my head around the idea of supporting someone who does not care about you, literally does not care about you, would pay you dust, and you sitting there to talk about something, you support him. So you're right. It's not just white people. It's a bunch of, there's always the one-offs.
Because they think it's not going to affect them. That's also another thing. It's like, oh, well, yes, he's coming for Latinos, but not my type of Latinos. He's coming for these type of Latinos. It's like, well, I don't care what Latinos he's coming from. I don't want you dragging or disrespecting my people. I don't care if you're the bougie Latinos, the middle class Latinos. If you come for my people, I feel like you coming for me too. And I'm just not going to accept that. So that's that on that. We have another amazing topic to get to.
Yeah, we got to get into this other one where we talk about, so DEI, that's just the popular 3 words that
It seems that's going to be the theme of his 4 years. DEI.
Girl, DEI, ICE, like everything just popping off at the current moment. So because he has signed that executive order, basically taking away all things DEI, companies have started to actually get in line with that, right? So we've been seeing an increase of companies that have said that they're rolling back on their DEI initiatives. Now, let me show you a list of the people that we do acknowledge. Okay. These are the companies. This is like a small list of the companies that have said that DEI is not affecting them at all. Like, they are going to stick with the initiatives that they had in place because diversity, equity, and inclusion is literally what America should be, because half of y'all came to stolen land anyway. So let us look. Okay. Costco. We love a good Costco. We got some of these brands we don't got in Jersey. I just want to preface that. Okay. They got Kroger's, they got Giant Groceries, benandjerry's, we rock with you, Ulta, Macy's, Old Navy, Nordstrom, Shayla gonna love this, TJ Maxx, Walgreens, Dollar Tree, Wegmans, and some of the food places include like Mel's Southwest Grill, Auntie Annie's, or Auntie Anne's. I always call it Annie. And Cinnabon and other stores, right? So it's just like that. Those are some of the people, like some of the companies and those food locations that have said that we are not rolling back on our DEI initiatives. Now, I want to give you a list of the companies that have said we are. The moment it was presented to y'all said, I'm snatching this back, right? So I didn't want to make a list for them because we don't really need to pay them no attention. So one of the places, Target. Another location is Amazon, Walmart, Meta, McDonald's, Ford, Harley Davidson, Lowe's, John Deere.
We don't know her.
Right. Tractor Supply, Brown Foreman, and the list continues, right? And I just... the reason why I really wanted to talk about this today is because a lot of those brands are ones that we mainly use. And what are they? Target, Walmart, and Amazon, right? We're about to enter into February. What is February? Black History Month. If y'all remember, if you've been here for a long time, Shayla and I had a whole conversation and a whole episode where we talked about representation and about companies doing representation and doing it authentically. And if it's not authentic, you can keep it. Right? So the moment that this executive order was signed by Trump, I'm going to use Target as this example for right now. Target took Tabitha Brown stuff, Black hair products, all this different stuff that are Black owned, mark them things out down and put it on clearance.
Allegedly, because I ain't see that, but I also haven't been to Target.
Right. I haven't been to Target. So I mean, allegedly what I've been seeing is that. And the thing that irritates me is that if you know during Black History Month, these brands, all like these companies and those like Targets, Walmarts and stuff, their Black History stuff would just be on set, like not even sale, but like it would be there. I remember showing Shayla, like, Shayla, look at this top, like this is cute.
They have displays and everything for it.
Yeah, like y'all made it seem as if y'all wanted to be a part of like it all, like y'all were embracing that. But the moment it's the opportunity is presented to you to let it go and to step away from it, y'all like, thank you. It was never authentic, right? It was never genuine, and y'all were just doing it to just get that social check mark off. Like it's like I can't even be mad because honestly, I would prefer a company to show me their true colors than to sit there and keep playing me in my face.
Yeah, but even if they have your true colors, the main reason why I wanted to discuss this is this whole notion or this thing happens, I feel like every few years, right? It's like a cycle. So as part of the cycle comes the topic about boycotting, right? Well, because we see their true colors now, right? Like we see that as soon as they had a chance to, drop the DEI, they jumped to that, right? Like they were hoping, they were waiting for that to happen actually. Yeah. So a lot of like Black people, other people of color are like, well, we need to boycott these companies, right? And Tabitha Brown posted a video about this. I didn't watch the full thing, but as social media does, they only clipped a portion of it where she was talking about how like, just know that if you do stop shopping at these companies or you stop buying my product that is sold here, that is also going to affect me. But in that video at the end of it, she also talked about like, but I do understand if you do decide to stop shopping there, right? Like I understand there is the end goal, and if you decide to do so, then that's okay with me. Like I get it. My whole thing with the boycotting is the same way I say that money talks. There is strength in there's strength in numbers. I think that's the saying. When the whole Israel and Gaza fight was happening, a lot of people boycotted Starbucks, but then a lot of people did not. You know what I'm saying? Or let's say they boycotted for like a week and then they went right back to Starbucks the second week. So do you think that these companies, like you mentioned, companies that a lot of people use and depend, they go to often, is it possible? I don't want to say it's possible because anything is possible, but do you think in 2020, is it 2025? It's still too early in the years. In 2025, do you think it is possible to boycott a company like Target and Amazon?
I think, like you mentioned, anything is possible. Will it happen? No. And this is why I think that it's something that would not happen, right? So I've been seeing, and Shayla sent me a video that was talking about this, is like, they talked about the example being the Montgomery bus boycott, right? Where all people of color, Black people are like, we are not getting on that bus because that is how you are treating people of color. And taking a stand on that because this affected the large majority. Everybody understood, like, in order to fight for your rights, you have to fight against the disrespect, right? That was an understanding. So what did people do? I believe for it was 2-3 months or maybe longer, they were not getting on that bus. They were walking in groups. They were doing everything they had to do. And what did that do? That affected the bottom line, right? Why do I think that's a problem in 2025? Because we have people of color, and like we've said this before, it's not even just people of color, because if you are a white person who is...
Yeah, let's just generalize it.
Right.
Everybody.
Right. So if you are somebody who sees what these companies are doing, you're like, okay, well, I still need to buy my shampoo. I still need to buy this. I still need to buy that. And it's like, if you are not automatically affected, like some people, I've seen people say this on Twitter, say, well, I don't go to Target for diversity, equity, and inclusion. I go for my products. Like, you have people who have that mindset who aren't thinking about the inequalities, the injustices, or nothing like that. They're just thinking about me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's why I don't think that boycotting these companies is going to be very effective, because not everybody is going to look at things that way. Like, you have to have a large majority. And that, as you can tell, not everybody can feel the same way sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's a very individualistic society. And a lot of people, Latinos, all races, if you're not immediately impacted, you're like, oh, well, then why should I care? I don't agree with that. And I think people are just, they like to feel comfortable, right? They don't want to take that extra 5-minute drive to go to whatever the local store, because I don't care where you live. We have bodegas where I'm from. Bodegas are like just like a little convenience stores at every block, whatever. So it definitely is possible for me. But where Rebecca lives, you don't. Do you guys have bodegas?
Girl, we got bodegas.
But do you have one in your vicinity,
Girl,
like 2-3 blocks away from you?
I don't even think my town know what a bodega is. Like,
Okay, so the case in point, it would have to require everyone to struggle or have to go the extra mile to, see change. At the end of the day, these corporations like Target, and especially I'm very upset on the McDonald's one, because as someone that lives in an urban area, we have a McDonald's at like every block. We don't have a Whole Foods. We don't have a Trader Joe's. We don't have none of that. But we have all the fast food restaurants, honey. You could walk to them. So it's just like, we are literally the reason why you are still standing. Because you know how people be like, don't lick my young? A lot of high echelon people are like, ew, you eat McDonald's? So it's like, the people that literally carry your behind, you're ready to drop. And I think that's why people need to, I don't want, like, know your value, right? Because I think when people don't value you, or when people show you who they are, believe them. Why should people like us be supporting, these McDonald's corporations when they don't care about us? But they're at every corner. The same thing with like the bus boycott, right? The reason why they had to, break from their rules of like, well, you need to sit in the back. It's like, well, a majority of people that were taking the bus were Black people. So until they, like, it hurt their pockets, because that's the same thing with racism. Racism didn't end just because, oh, wow, all of a sudden I read more books, so now I'm well versed and I know that racism is bad. No, it took a lot of like uncomfortable. It took a lot of hurting their wallets for them to wake up and not change the rules and the laws because they wanted to. It was because, well, no, we actually do need Black people to be a part of our society. So I think we're very individualistic, and we have this mentality like, if it doesn't affect me, I don't care about it. And until that changes, it's not going to happen.
I also want to preface by saying really quickly, racism is not over. We've just learned how to assimilate a little better.
Right. And we have systemic racism. The same way I mentioned, like, all I have around me is fast food chains. That is in itself a form of, systemic racism, right? Because all the healthy stuff are in the affluent towns. They got a Whole Foods, a Trader Joe's, all the organics and all of this. And we have greasy and just non-healthy items for us to eat and indulge on.
I just want to talk about, so when we talked about these companies that are sticking with the DEI initiatives that they have in place, I just want to mention really quickly and highlight a little bit of Ben&Jerry's, right? Y'all know, if you don't know, I love a Ben&Jerry's. Ben&Jerry's, if you ever see this, vanilla-based milk and cookies, holla at your girl, okay? But they have, and I have a clip of it here. Let me just show you a little bit of like one of the posts that they had on their social media, and then I'm gonna get into it a little bit.
All day, every day, therapist, mother maid, then a virgin, nurse, then a servant, just an appendage, lift to attendance, so that he never lifts a finger. 24.
Right, so when you scroll onto their TikTok, you see them posting like all these different things, like we stand with freedom of choice, we stand with this, we stand with that. And there was a video that they did. I didn't download it and put it in here, but like they did a video because somebody commented on their post saying stick to ice cream. And they basically were like, we're not going to stick to ice cream because the like diversity, equity, and inclusion is what is integral for our society to continue and to literally grow. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what they said. And I was seeing that I didn't go to the store and see this on my own, but allegedly some stores have been locking like the doors to get into the Ben and Jerry's portion. Like there's like a lock on it, right?
I hope that's a lie.
I mean, when I went to ShopRite yesterday, I didn't think, oh God, let me go look at Ben and Jerry's because that was not on my mind. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm lactose intolerant, so I try to stay away. But it's okay. I could pop a lactate pill anyway. So I just think if you are a company are going to stand on something and you're going to have that represent your brand as a whole, stick true to that. I said before, if you stand for nothing, you'll go for anything. And I feel like these companies that did roll back on DEI, y'all don't want to stand for nothing. Y'all just want to sit there and follow whatever's being told to y'all. But the companies that are saying, no, we're going to stay firm on our beliefs, I believe you are standing for something. You are showing, especially me. I'm a Macy's girl. I grew up on Macy's. The coupons, my mama always had me in there on a Sunday with a 30% off. Okay. They were not playing. M Labs, I used to be there all the time. If you like, you are literally taking a stand and showing, like, nah, I'm gonna stand on that 10 toes. And that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, and also I just think it to me, it tells me that you think there is no value in me and my people. My dollars are not the same as the white people or the non-disabled like dollars. And I think that is so disrespectful. So again, like, yes, it might take you 5 extra minutes to go somewhere else to get your body wash, to get your water, to do whatever you have to do. But when I saw Costco on there, I said, thank God, because I love me some Costco. You guys know I'm a TJ Maxx girl, Marshalls, the whole companies. I love them all. But let's say that they did, we're not a part of it. I respect myself enough. And I also think like I'm a big believer or not believer. I really want kids. So I want to do whatever I can in my lifetime to make sure that my kids have a better life, because the way it is looking, we're going back, not forward. So if me creating change means going to the bodega instead of Target or going the extra mile, then I'm going to do it for a better future. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable in hopes of making change. Like, creating change is not just going to happen with uncomfortability. You have to be uncomfortable.
And I just want to mention this last point before we move on. Do your research. Like, we gave you a list of certain companies that are saying we're rolling back our DEI initiatives. And then we also gave you a list of companies that said, nah, we're going to stay with the initiatives that we had in place. Do your research. Like, look to see what brands that you like. And if you do want to sit there and support the boycotting of certain things, definitely look into it. I promote you to do your own research. Don't just take what we're saying at 1,000% value. Even with the topic that we talked about earlier with the crash and everything like that, things are constantly changing. So definitely look into those things and get the updates that you want to get if you are interested in learning more about those stuff. Now, let's get into our social corner, guys. Woo! Ooh, okay, guys, welcome to our social corner, where if you are new here, this is where we talk about different topics, but we don't want to spend 10, 15, 25 minutes talking about the same thing. These are small things that we want to talk about, get to it, and jump to the next. So
also a little bit more lighthearted, because I know we've been very real and hard, but now it's a little bit chill. We're going to be social vibes.
Okay. So I just wanted to mention this real quick. As somebody who, I love my crime dramas. I do. I really do. And Suits, if you know, there was a point where everybody was obsessed with Suits. Suits is coming back for a reboot, right? Let me just show y'all a little bit of.
Or the mighty Ted Black.
What's that?
The new deal I got you.
You don't represent me. I need someone with confidence. You just seem a little sheepish to me.
I am the best attorney in the country.
We're about to be the largest firm in the city.
Ted is making you and me co-heads of entertainment.
Come again? This time next week. You, me.
You being on top of me? That's a fantasy that's never gonna happen.
We'll see about that, Ricky.
It's different out here. People lie. They cheat. They do whatever they can to win.
I know what you're thinking of doing. Once you do it, there's no going back.
Do you trust me or not? Yes.
Damn right.
Remember this guy?
Harvey from the old days.
I never liked him. The only person I knew cockier than you.
That's exactly why I liked him.
Now, Shayla and I had a conversation a while back about reboots, and we see that Phineas and Ferb was coming back for the reboot, yada, yada, yada. So with this reboot, what I've been seeing being tossed around is that one of the original characters, Harvey Specter, will show up for one episode, right? And when I saw that the reboot was coming out, like my first reaction was like, why? Like everyone who I have talked to about Suits, what we want to see is the after. I want to see Mike in his job. I want to see Harvey and Mike working at their nonprofit together. I want to see what life is like for Harvey and Donna. I want to see those things. Nothing, as much as Victoria Justice was great in Victorious, I'm not worried about her in Suits. Like, the reason why most people loved the Suits is because of the character development, the plots, and just just all it had, right? All the drama, all the plot points, all everything. I don't see no Jessica Parker. I don't see a Harvey Specter. I don't see a Donna. I don't see a Lewis. I don't see a Mike. What? Just make a new show.
Yeah, I wish I had something to add because I never watched Suits, but you guys know how I feel about reboots. I've just ended the same thing with like High School Musical. They did a little like a show version of the High School Musicals for Disney Plus, and I'm just never gonna watch that because let each thing be its own thing. Like, why call this a Suits reboot if you're not including the same people? Or just let it go. Like, call it a different show. Like, if it's all different people, call it the what's another word for Suits?
Spinoff. Oh, spinoff.
No.
You said Suits?
No. Yeah, or call it Tie. Like, please, no.
Like, keep it for real. So the next thing we want to talk about, this is Shayla's favorite girl.
The next thing we want to talk about is Sexyyred and Bruno Mars. The song, they dropped a new song. I don't know, is the name of the song called Coochie? I don't know.
Sexy and Wet. I got a little preview for you.
Girl, we don't need a preview of that. So the song actually came out last Friday, but I didn't get a chance to hear it. So we didn't talk about it. And I heard like 5 seconds of it. And I said, please pause and end it. I never want to hear this song again. I do not understand why Bruno Mars and his team agreed to this, because before this song, I saw Bruno Mars as like a gentleman, like he gonna wife you up. You know the song, like, I Think I Want to Marry You. Anytime I hear that song, I think about like in Disney, people proposing, like all cute stuff, and like, I'ma leave the door. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, all. And then you hear this song that it's all about like coochie and wet, and it's just so like Sexyyred. We know she is explicit, so it's like, okay, whatever. Like, that is her brand. I'm used to it. But to hear Bruno Mars come on that song and be so explicit and just like it is adding nothing to the culture. And I think it's gonna help Sexyyred because she is gonna get the clicks, but it's not moving the needle for Bruno Mars. And I think he's gonna regret this little collab.
Okay, all right. I don't think it's gonna get to that point.
I mean, he already did it, but he's not gaining nothing from it.
So my thing is, so when I saw that the song came out, like when I first listened to it, I was just like, okay, like it was just very random to me more than anything. And I saw people on social media talking about it, and they were like, somebody was like, first off, I didn't even know these type of words were in Bruno Mars's vocabulary. And then I saw another post that was basically like, this is the worst song Bruno Mars has ever been a part of and collaborated with, and this is the best song that Sexyyred has ever had. And I was like,
No, Sexyyred has better songs. 1,000%.
yeah, I died laughing. Okay, so to me, when I heard it, like I could see how it's catchy because he's like wet and juicy or something like that. It's a little catchy. Would I sit there on a regular Sunday listening to that song? No. If I heard it played in the club, I might do a little. I mean, I can't fault somebody for wanting to diversify. It's not for me. But the people it's for probably think it's great.
Yeah, for Sexyred's like audience, yes, maybe. But I don't know. I feel like Sexyyred has better songs for sure. This was not her best song out there. So anyways, on to the next. Comment down below how you feel about Sexyred's new song with Bruno Mars. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Tell us in the comments.
Right.
On to a little bit. It's a little bit serious, but it's just things that happen on social media. So Selenagomez, as we've discussed, I feel like we've been talking about Donald Trump for our last 3 episodes. He's been very heavy on deporting migrants, right? He claims that it's only people that have legal, like criminal backgrounds. That is a lie. He's also deporting people that have no criminal backgrounds. But we're not talking about that right now. Selenagomez, the actress, producer, the creator of like Rare Beauty, I think that's her beauty brand called. She posted like a short little Insta story crying. I didn't watch it, but I saw someone share it of her crying about these deportations. Okay, I don't want to listen to it, but you can play it for them.
I just want to say that I'm so sorry. All my people are getting attacked. The children. I don't understand. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything, I promise.
So essentially, she deleted that video, I feel like immediately, because she was receiving backlash for it. And some people were like, well, you guys forget that these celebrities are humans. If you didn't know, she has a Latina background. I don't know if she's Mexican, but she has some Latino roots. She helped produce, I don't know this because I never watched it, like a Netflix series, to highlight the Latino community. Boom, boom, bam. Here's how I feel about the situation. It is not that like celebrities don't cry as the chair of the crying department, because I love to cry, honey. It's not about the crying. My thing is it's taking away from the issue, right? You have such an amazing and big platform. Millions of people follow you. You posting and setting up this camera as you are crying in tears. I really couldn't even make out what she was saying. So that is taking away from the message. And I mean this like really nice. It's taking away from the message. You could have instead been sharing, you said you don't know what to do, but there are several organizations that have been fighting since before Trump entered office, fighting this battle. The people that do know what they're doing and what they need to do. You could have just shared a screenshot on that. A video, because there are thousands of organizations, and that would have been more impactful and more helpful and not distract from the migrant situation instead of just posting a video of you crying. I understand that as someone that cries, but I just feel like it gave a little bit of just like read the room, because it made you the victim and not the migrants. Rebecca, go ahead.
So I'm laughing because every time I see, like, I don't know if y'all remember if you're new here, but there was an old episode where we talked about what is something that we need to leave in 2024. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I mentioned is getting on social media and crying, because the moment you get on social media and cry, the first thing people are going to think, and Shayla mentioned it, you set your phone up and say, all right, here come the tears. Like to Shayla's point, if you want to do something, there's literally advocates that are speaking out saying, if you are like pulled over by ICE or ICE is in front of you, these are your rights. This is what you can say. These are the numbers that you can call so you can get a caseworker or somebody to advocate for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And don't get me wrong, that going to help every case? No, there's still going to be people who are innocent who are getting shipped back to where they came from. Right. And it's like, her getting on social media crying like that, I'm looking at her, I'm like, what is it that you wanted to accomplish? Like, what is it? Did you want me to sit there and be like, oh my God, Selena crying, me too?
And I'm sure she meant well. Like, I'm not saying she didn't mean well. I just think as celebrities, you also have access to way more things that people like Rebecca and I have. You, like your agents, the people that you work with on Netflix, the rare beauty people, like you could start a campaign. Oh, these 5% of all the sales for rare beauty for one day will go towards these organizations that are helping. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like you have access to so many other opportunities. So unfortunately, this is how the world works. You are not going to be held to the same standard that regular, everyday people are. You're just not.
Exactly. And it's like, I get it. The situation is sad. And the amount of cases that I see on a daily basis is actually disgusting. But getting on social media and crying is not going to do nothing, because those people are still getting detained and people are still getting shipped back by the boatload. So it's like, you sitting on social media crying, you literally, like, you are an advocate for all these different things. Girl, advocate. Don't get on social media, crop your phone up and think that everybody about them tears going to do something for us. Like, I get it. It came from like a good place.
I think she meant well. It just was not interpreted that way.
Read the room, like Shayla said. Did you want to mention Angel Reese, or did you want us to go into Sports Corner?
I'll just mention these last three things. We were not going to talk about it, but Angel Reese, at the age of 22 years old, honey, she was able to gift her mother for her birthday, which I think was on Thursday. She paid off her mortgage. So shout out to her doing her big one. While people are worried about what she is wearing, she is paying off her mother's mortgage. So clock that tea. I need to see all the headlines. Thank you. Other thing, a Fox News host went off because Kamala Harris's husband went out grocery shopping with her. He said, oh, what type of man does this? And it's like, well, a good man would go out with his wife to food shop. So if you yourself think that you're above going Latino. If you yourself think that you are above going grocery shopping with your wife, you need to get checked. And if I was the wife, I would have the divorce papers at your doorstep before I get home.
And I just want, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and the last point that I want to make is, bad baby. If it is true that you have cancer, I need you to please focus on yourself and your health. You dropping a diss track about Alabama Barker is just not helping the situation. You're bringing more hate, more stress to your life. You also have a child. Focus on your baby. Like, you also just got a nose job, which is why I'm questioning, do you have cancer? Because it's actually insane to me. Why are you bringing all of this negative attention to you? Because whether you realize it or not, if you have cancer, all of this stress and all of these things is not going to help your health. Focus on you. If your husband or boyfriend is cheating on you, who cares? Prioritize you. If not for you, for your child that you need to be here for. And yeah, now let's get into a sports corner.
Can I just make 2 points real quick?
Oh, all the points. Go ahead.
To the topic you mentioned about the Fox person, when I first saw that video, the first thing I said to myself, I'm like, first off, you're a bozo and you're a clown. Who actually wants to get married to you? Because what do you mean going shopping with your wife is a weird thing? When did being a present husband become a headline and mean political strategy? Like, y'all do know the basis of a relationship is companionship and to be together. And what are they doing? Shopping together. Like,
and I think he's married, so whatever.
Girl. And clearly he ain't going with you to ShopRite, Costco, none of them.
It's men with that like machismo attitude that they think they're too good.
And that's literally it. That machismo attitude will really get you signing divorce papers before you can say why. Okay. And to Bad Baby and Alabama Barker, I just think the drama between them, every time I see it, I kind of just keep scrolling because it's just like, what do y'all hope to accomplish? Like, are y'all gonna fight? What's next? Like, I don't understand what is it that y'all hope to accomplish. And to your point, Shayla, if you first off have cancer, have an abusive boyfriend, and you have a child, girl, clearly you need to stop doing diss tracks and focus on your life track. Like, what are you doing? Focus on yourself. And the real funny thing is, like, Alabama Barker was like, oh, like, I didn't even have sex with Tyga and Soulja Boy. And then Tyga had like got on social media, was like, I didn't even think I needed to address this, like, that's not what happened. Like, I never like. And the thing is, somebody in the comments was like, it's the fact that how easy and believable a white underage girl is to your type. That's why we believe it. But let's get into our sports corner. Tell him this, did he miss? Junior want to not be on my Hey, so y'all, let's get into it because we are running a lot over time. Okay. So we wanted to talk about Jimmy Butler and all the drama and debacle that is surrounding him. So the Miami Heat indefinitely suspended Jimmy Butler on Monday. This is his third suspension this season, citing repeated disregard for the team rules and conduct detrimental to the team. Apparently, Butler walked out of practice after being informed that he was moved out of the starting lineup by their coach. Reports suggest that the Heat have been open to trading Butler since December, and Butler has basically expressed the same thing. And the trade deadline is coming up on February 6th. So some decisions need to be made. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to acknowledge really quickly. So Butler, he's averaging 17 points, 5.2 rebounds, 4.8 assists in 25 games this season. And, and he stands to lose $532,737 per game under the suspension. So it's like, So Shayla and I have like been talking a lot about like the news every time we see something with Jimmy Butler. And like, basically the one thing that me and her always come to is like, if he does not want to be there, let that man go.
Yeah, he's being held hostage in Miami.
And it's just like, if y'all don't want him there, I get it. Y'all, like, Jimmy Butler is their star and role player. But it's like, at one point, you don't got, I will ship you away for pennies and figure it out later.
Well, that's the thing. I think the problem is that they don't want to let him go without getting something in return, like something valuable, because I think other organizations may want him. I think also all of this bad press is also making it harder because as an organization, whether you realize it or not, you're adding this drama into your organization. Do you want that? Is it worth it? No. I think this whole thing of him being mad that you aren't in the starting lineup is kind of like, well, you already said that you don't want to play for us. So this inconsistency, you're not going to be long-term with us. So why would I put you in my starting lineup to mess up with the boys that are going to be here long-term? Again, this is coming from just the outside looking in. Maybe the Miami Heat organization is doing things, to mess with him, right? Like, it is very grimy. It is very petty. But at the end of the day, it's like, you already made your decision. We're not going to put you in the starting lineup because you're not going to be with us long term. And it's just bringing unnecessary drama. But I think at the end of the day, if the deadline hits, they're just going to have to let him go, or I don't know. But the money thing doesn't matter. He has enough money that he'll be all right.
And I just wanted to mention really quickly is to your point of like, this is bad PR for him, because at the end of the day, when it comes to basketball, yes, you work for these different franchises, but you yourself are the product, right? You are the basically what's being sold. You're the brand, exactly. So it's like, if you are acting like this because you're unhappy and doing all this, and I know like this is a terrible way to say it, but like it's kind of like a suck it up until the final product is able to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all have jobs that we literally hate and we can't stand how they treat us or stuff like that. And we are actively making moves to find different ways to, like, you know, change the circumstances that we are in. But to sit there and say, like, let's say I'm so mad at my job, and instead of showing up at my job at 10:30 like I'm supposed to, I'm showing up at 1 o'clock every day. That's a complete disregard. And that is basically making a bad look on me. Because it's like, oh, when she's not happy, instead of sitting there doing what she has to do until she's able to get out, she's just doing whatever she wants. It's like, you don't know how to take direction and you think that you could do whatever you want.
So do you think he's going to end up with the Pelicans? Yes or no? Before we move on.
I could see it happening, but I've been seeing a lot of reports of saying like a lot of like teams are worried about adding him to the roster because of his behavior.
Well, TBD. The last point I want to make, we're not going to get too into it because we don't have a lot of time. But if you haven't been keeping up with the WNBA, you should support women, love them down. And I feel like unlike many years before, WNBA free agency has been very slow. Like maybe one player moves here or over there. But baby, WNBA free agency has been on go. Every day it's a new free agent going somewhere. So Jewel Lloyd is going to the Aces. Kelsey Plum is going to the LA Sparks. Alyssa Thomas to the Mercury. Natasha Cloud to the Sun. So as you can see, the list goes on. A lot of people are switching up. So for this new season, 2025 WNBA season, sign up. You know, like buckle up because it's about to be a ride. I am pro the Liberty. We may or may not be getting somebody. But all I'm saying is benandjerry better not be a part of any trades. We already lost Kayla Thornton with like the expansion draft. She's gonna go to the equivalent of what the
Warriors.
Exactly, the Valkyries. So I'm super excited. And if you haven't been watching the WNBA Unrivaled, please start supporting.
And I just want to say, when I saw that they traded Brittany
Griner,
I was like, oh.
Because she's been in the same franchise forever.
I know, but she was doing good with them. So I was a little like...
But you know why? Because their main player, Diana Taurasi, who's like the oldest, I feel like WNBA player to still be playing. Reports, she hasn't made it official, but they're saying that she's about to retire. So that is why, like, the Brittany Griner leaving to a new franchise, like the first franchise other than the one that she was traded to or went to when she started playing in the WNBA. People are saying like that's the last clue of like Diana has to be retiring because she wouldn't leave if that wasn't happening. So anyways, tap in.
And the last thing we want to talk about as well is the NBA All-Star. We talked about it last week. We talked about some of the starters and everything like that and how we feel about the current state of the game. But we wanted to talk about the current reserves that have been announced. So let me show y'all really quickly this little list that we have here. So as you can see, these are the starters. Those are the ones that are starred. And then we have the current reserves that were announced. So we have, for the Eastern Conference, we have Damian Lillard, Darius Garland, Jaylen Brown, Cade Cunningham, Tyler Hero, Evan Mobley, and Pascal Siakam. And then for the Western Conference, we have Anthony Edwards, Anthony Davis, James Harden, Jaren Jackson Jr., I'm about to butcher this man's name. Alperen Sengun, whatever his name is. Sorry, my boy. Jalen Williams and Victor Wembanyama. I know. How can I pronounce Victor
Wembanyama?
And I wanted to talk about this because, you know, we see all these different reserves, and I'm not gonna lie, this is a good list. But I feel like a lot of people were snubbed this year.
Who's your snubs? Who do you think got snubbed?
I feel like
Trae Young said he feels.
I believe
he said we should, instead of saying snub, we should call it "You got Trae Young."
You got Trae Young. I do believe like he has been killing it in the assist game, and he has basically been carrying this team without, like, yes, they have good players on the team, but he doesn't have that second person for real.
Who else was snubbed?
I feel like he was snubbed. I like LaMelo Ball. I feel like he was snubbed. I also feel like they got Shea Gildress,
Of
right?
course they do.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
I don't think so. Oh, yes, they do. Thank God. Whew, baby.
Girl. I love how she read all the lists and then forgot that she read the name.
But yeah, I feel like Trae Young. I feel like who else do I feel like? I feel like with the Pelicans right now, what's his name? Ugh, their point guard. What's his name?
Did he go to UConn? Is
Girl.
he a young person?
His name is blanking on me, but you know who I'm talking about.
Something Stewart?
No, girl. Oh my God. Anyway, I feel like there's a lot of snubs this year, but I also feel like it's like a hefty list. And when it comes to like the starters and reserves that are announced for the All-Stars, somebody's always going to feel like they were left out, or somebody's going to feel like this person shouldn't have gotten it and this person should have. Like, it's always going to be like you're never going to make everybody happy type of vibe.
And I think another element of this that some people may, from the outside looking in, might think like, oh, well, who cares if you don't get this award or this honor? I think correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think other than like the opportunity to say bragging rights, you're an all-star, I think this also comes with like a check, right? When it does come time for you to sign that new contract, you have, a boost to ask for more money because you are an all-star. So it's not just about the name and the bragging rights about it. Also, you losing money. Like, I'm playing so good and I am being left out.
Yeah, like certain
life.
sponsorships and stuff like that get presented your way. But before we end the show, I just want to say, let us know who y'all feel like got snubbed, or if you feel like the starters and the reserves were literally like the perfect people that were chosen for this year's All-Star games. Definitely let us know. But that is all from us.
Girl, we already reaching 1:30, so we might as well just do our wind down question.
Oh, okay, cool. Never mind. We're gonna get into our wind down. Let's get into it. Woo!
We are already so far in that it's just like whatever. So for our wind down question, yes, before you comment this, we are late to the trend, but it is what it is. Life has been hard. So in honor of that, we want to share with you what our girl dinner would be. If you don't know what a girl dinner is, essentially what I have with context clues, my definition of it is like a low maintenance, like low barrel, whatever you have at home type of dinner that you would eat or have out for your friends when you invite them over. You're not buying like, you're not creating a 5-course meal. It's like just low maintenance meal. So what would be your girl dinner, Rebecca?
Honestly, and I know people are gonna look at me like, okay. Honestly, anything with an avocado. Like, I eat an avocado every single day. That is my girl dinner. Like, I'm obsessed, and I feel like I always have some type of meat in the fridge. And like, honestly, lately I would do a lot of salmon and avocado.
I don't think that counts as the girl.
That's a girl dinner.
Salmon is not low maintenance.
Girl, I'm saying it's in the fridge already. I'm not making it.
I don't think you're understanding what low.
Girl,
let me tell you what my girl dinner is, because you're not. It's supposed to be. Salmon is very expensive. I get it. You and your household, you may have it every week, but that's not girl dinner. Girl,
I'm tripping.
I gave you hella time for this, and this girl talking about some salmon and avocado.
Girl, I'm saying any meat. As of lately, it's been salmon and avocado, literally just popping in the fridge. But I do a rotisserie chicken and avocado too.
Okay. So for my girl dinner, I think after this, I need Rebecca to go on TikTok and look at the girl dinners so she understands what it is. Or maybe I'm not getting it. You comment down below, let me know. So my girl dinner is white cheddar popcorn and just toasted a sandwich with just toasted a toasted sandwich with ham and cheese and a pint of ice cream. Low maintenance items, not no damn avocado and salmon. That's like a real life dinner when you really inviting people over. That's a girl dinner.
A girl dinner is what you eat. I don't care about what everybody else getting. If anything, I will get them a sandwich and popcorn.
The whole thing of a girl dinner is like the gag of it, the funny, the joke of it all is like chips and salsa. Like that's a girl
avocado and anything. I told you it's literally anything avocado. It's avocado and crackers.
Okay. So to repeat, my girl dinner is white cheddar popcorn, a pint of ice cream, and toasted ham and cheese sandwich. That is my girl dinner. Very low maintenance, but I love me some bread and cheese and white cheddar popcorn. So thank you. That is it. That is all.
Y'all let us know if I'm tripping below. And also, we didn't do this at the top of the show, but I just want to say thank you to all our new subscribers.
Yes.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for clocking in with us and also commenting, liking, and subscribing to us, period. We appreciate y'all. And shout out to all the people who have been leaving such cute comments to us and giving us like your own opinions. We don't want y'all to think we just want y'all to agree with us. Like, we want to hear your takes on certain things. If you a hater, be a hater. If you a lover, be a lover. That's it.
Yep, just stand true to who you are. And we'll see you guys next Friday. Bye.